Okay, so 5.2 is not really on the list of sections that we cover for the course anymore, I guess, but I just wanted to quickly give just like an introduction to matrices. All right, so basically a matrix, another word for it that's used a lot in the math world is like an array, I guess you could say. It's kind of like a table with rows and columns. All right, so then the entries in the table could theoretically be anything, but most of the time they're going to be numbers for our purposes. Okay, so the order of a matrix, which sometimes I can't remember what they call it on the MyLabs Plus, but sometimes they just call that the size of the matrix. So the size or the order, same thing. All right, so it's basically saying, the number of rows by the number of columns. Okay, so this would be read as by. Okay, so for example, we have number 1, that would be a 2 by 4 matrix. Okay, because it has 2 rows and then 4 columns. So the order is 2 by 4. Okay. All right, and then this is a way of referring to specific entries in the table. So this subscript here, so this is not, this is not 11 and 12. This is row 1, column 1. So A with a subscript of 1, 1 is saying the element or entry for matrix A in row 1, column 1, or row 1, column 2. So for number 1, A, 2, 3, so row 2, column 3. So in that case, that would be -4. And then 1, 2. So row 1, column 2. So that would be 3. And then 3, 2, that would be referring to row 3, column 2, and there is no row 3. So that is not applicable or doesn't exist. And then we have 2, 4, so that'd be row 2, column 4. So that would be 8. Okay. And then number 2, matrix B is a 3 by 2. Because it has 3 rows and 2 columns. All right, and then 2, 3. So row 2, column 3, not applicable in this case because there is no third column. And then 1, 2, so that's row 1, column 2. So in this case, that would be 0. And then 3, 2, so that's row 3, column 2, and that would be -1. Then 2, 1, that's row 2, column 1, so that's 4. All right, and then number 3, matrix C is a 1 by 3. 1 row, 3 columns. So 1, 2, that's row 1, column 2. So in this case, that's pi. And then 2, 1, row 2, column 1 would be not applicable since there is no row 2. And then 1, 4, also not applicable since there's no 4th column. 1, 3, that would be 97, row 1, column 3. All right, so that's a little bit of an intro to matrices. And then from this video, you can either go to 5.3 or 5.7. I'm always torn as to which one is better to do first, but in the end, I think it doesn't really matter because one doesn't necessarily depend on the other. All right, but that's all I'm going to do for 5.2.